And then the spotlight is on me because guess what, people? I do apologise, but for the next half hour, you're stuck with me. So let's play a song, shall we? I hope that's working for you. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear that. I used to think that when love came to me, it would come with rockets, bells, and poetry. But with me and you, it just started quietly and grew. But believe it or not, now there's something groovy and good about whatever we got. And it's getting better, growing stronger, warm and wilder, getting better every day, better every day. I don't get all turned on and starry-eyed. Well, I've been married 7 years, what do you expect? But I know there's something sweet that's deep inside, especially on a Friday night, when you hold my tights. It just feels natural and right. And it's not hard to see that it isn't half of what it's going to turn out to be. God, I forgot the words, sorry. Growing stronger, warm and wilder, getting better every day. Better every day. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. God, I've not sang this in a while. La-da-da-da-da. I don't mind waiting. No, I don't mind waiting, 'cause no matter how much it takes, the two of us know. But what do we know? That it's getting better, growing stronger, warm and wilder, getting better every day. It's getting better, growing stronger, warm and wilder, getting better every day, better every day. It's getting 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 better every day. Thank you very much. Ooh. Oh, God, everything's going off at once. I've got too many buttons to press at the moment. Thank you very much, everybody. How are we? This is very bizarre for me. In drag on a Friday night, I've spent the entire lockdown doing drag on a Sunday afternoon, and it just doesn't feel right on a Friday night. I should be doing other things. Mr. Cox will not be happy until I get upstairs, let me tell you. Anyway, how are we? It's Friday, people. What can I tell you about Friday? Well, what can we talk about? This week has been an epic week for some because the pubs have been able to reopen. Yay! And can you believe, this month marks month 13 since the first lockdown, which, if you ask me, means that COVID-19 is by far the longest lasting thing to ever have been made in China. It's ridiculous, isn't it? So I'm very impressed that they finally produced something that lasts, but sadly it's something that we don't really want. However, I do feel like we are immunizing against COVID-19, so that pandemic should be on its way down. However, I went out for lunch in a pub beer garden yesterday and sat there in a long sleeve t-shirt, a hoodie, a coat, a hat and gloves, and I was still fucking freezing. So I've got a feeling that we've got rid of COVID, but we're now all going to start dying of hypothermia. So whatever way you look at it, we're all fucked, really, aren't we? I do apologise. I think I've sworn before the watershed, but it's on the internet. If you don't like it, just click the X in the top corner, but don't click that X before donating some money to charity. Because even if you hate me, you can't hate a good cause, can you? And this is a very good cause. We are here tonight to raise money in aid of Cancer Research UK. So please make sure that whatever you have, you just pop along to the link. Apparently, according to my husband, he's been trying to donate upstairs. I was hoping he'd save his donation for when I was ready to receive it. But he has been making donations upstairs. And apparently the Cancer Research website is down at the moment.
Yes, it is.
You people have been clicking too much already. It's like a Korean click farm over here, I think. They're like... Maybe that, or maybe they're just getting pissed off with all of us saying it's the end of lockdown and we can only afford 25p. So they've just shut it down because it's not worth their admin. I don't know. I do not know. But keep trying with it. Keep trying to donate because you never know when this horrible disease might touch you. It nearly touched me, in fact, in November last year. I ended up in hospital, and that's not a pleasant place to be at the moment either, because before you go in, they make you do a COVID test, and I don't know if any of you have ever done a COVID test, but they're not nice. Not the ones they were doing back then. I think they've brought out a bunch of new ones if you want to go on a plane, but the one I did... I would call her a doctor, but it wasn't a doctor. It was a pissed off Asian in the middle of a car park outside the hospital in a freezing cold porter cabin in November. So I understand she was taking her frustration out on me, but she was kind of using me as a proper voodoo doll because she got this swab that was about this long and stuck it up my nose. And she wasn't happy just getting a bit of snot. She wanted fucking brain cells. She gave me a lobotomy through my nostrils. And luckily, that's the one test that I have passed this year because I'd never pass a drugs and alcohol test, let me tell you. They're joking. Can't find drugs these days. And not that I would even talk about that on a family show. I feel very terrible when it's someone else's show and not mine. You feel like, oh, you mustn't say that. That's naughty. I don't even do drugs, if I'm honest with you. I mean, look at the state of this nose. Can you imagine if I went to a cocaine party? I'd be the most unpopular person there, for fuck's sake. 1 gram wouldn't even fill a nostril, would it? It'd be terrible. And you've seen what I earn. I can't afford to do them. But I do love a nice bit of alcohol, and I do still stay well stocked on the paracetamols because of my love of alcohol. I can't bear the morning after. I'm not like the lovely Miss Love who is joining us in the Zoom chat. She can survive anything as long as she's got some banana milk. It's amazing. I mean... Banana milk never makes me feel happy, but a banana, if I'm feeling lonely, that can make me feel happy. But freeze it first, otherwise it gets very squidgy. Speaking of, the whole reason I had this terrible cancer scare, I discovered about 1.5 years ago that in a certain area of my anatomy, I had extra ribbing. I was ribbed for his pleasure. I noticed a little lump, it was... It was while I was doing the routine of the constipated mathematician, when you try and work it out with a pencil. And I noticed that it was making like a xylophone sound as I pulled a pencil through my rear end. So I thought, I better get that checked out. So I went off to the clap clinic, and I used to have such a terrible aversion to the clap clinic. In fact, before I got married, I used to be in there every week. I'd get frequent flyer miles, and they loved me. And the day I got engaged, I went to see them and said, just one final swab around, girls. I just want to make sure I'm not going to give him anything before I go all holier than thou and become a nun and accept my life of virtue as a single married lady. So they swabbed everything, and I wish that they would do it in a different order, because do you know what they do? They swab your ass, they swab your chuff, and then they swab your throat. And the reason I wish they'd do it in a different order is because it tastes fucking disgusting by the time they reach your throat. It's really not nice. So that was my previous experiences of the clap clinic. But this time when I went, I knew what was wrong with me. I was like, I've got a little lump going on up there, and I'd like you to sort it out, please. And they couldn't get in far enough, which is very disappointing. If a man can't even go 2 inches deep, I was very disappointed. So they sent me off to the hospital, and they said, oh, no, we're not allowed to look up there. You're going to have one of those cameras put up it. And I thought, oh, God. Do you know what, Fonda? You've sat on worse. I mean, I've once been very drunk and tripped whilst playing leapfrog on a bollard and didn't even notice. So I figured a camera would not be difficult. However, I didn't realize, maybe some of you do, maybe some of you have gone through this, but when they put a camera up there to keep everything away from the camera lens, they put a second hose up there that just inflates you and they blow air into you. And this procedure takes 20 minutes. And it's horrible because they say to you before you start, if you feel the need to pass wind, then don't hold it in because we're going to be filling you full of the bloody stuff. So just do whatever you can, and we won't think any worse of you. And they were quite kind. I mean, they were putting me at my ease. I mean, the doctor said to me as well, we are sticking a camera up your arse. It's not unusual to get an erection during this procedure. And I said, well, I don't know what you mean. I'm a lady. And they said, oh, we weren't talking about you. I might get an erection using a camera up your arse. So at least I knew that at the end of this procedure, I might at least get a phone number. So it wasn't as bad as it could have been. But they put this camera up. And once they start doing that, it was 5 p.m. on a Friday night, and you're thinking, oh, there are other ways I would rather be spending this. But you just want to zone out. You're so embarrassed and mortified. I mean, part of the embarrassment for me was I had read an article just beforehand. I was very nervous that during this medical procedure, I'd been a bit bunged up with the nerves, and I didn't want a standard medical procedure to suddenly turn into a game of whack-a-mole, because that would just be really embarrassing. So I had read this article that a banana is perfect for cleaning your colon. So I wish I had read more of the article because I didn't realize you were supposed to eat it. And when they put the camera in, it was like a fruit smoothie factory going on up there. It was terrible. So he puts his camera in. And while I'm lying there trying to just block out the world and imagine that nothing is happening, nothing is going on, I suddenly realized that there's somebody stroking my hair. And I was like, oh God, have they paid you to be here and stroke my hair? And it was this lovely Chinese nurse. I don't know what she was called, possibly Hu Flung Poo, who knows? But she was stroking my hair. And she starts a conversation with me, like they do at the hairdressers. And I was like, oh God, just let me zone out. I don't want to be here. I don't want to hear this. And she's like, so what are your plans for this evening? And I thought, well, originally I was going to go home and have a lovely curry, but I daren't. In fact, I'm going to leave here looking like a fucking Goodyear blimp, aren't I? I'm probably going to spend the evening levitating off the fucking sofa. Thank you very much. I didn't know that this procedure was like that. Luckily, they did give me something to spend my evening on because I didn't realise, but they give you a DVD of the procedure afterwards. And I did watch it, but I have to say, I only watched it once. It was a really shit movie. But right, okay, now I've got as much inappropriateness out as I possibly can, and I am thinking it is time to think of happier times when I'm not lying on a table with a camera up my arse. Instead, I'm lying on a couch with a camera pointed at me, earning good money on OnlyFans or Fans Only. I never know what it is, which proves I don't bloody do it. Anyway, let's sing of happier times. Your sun'll come out tomorrow, so you gotta hang on till tomorrow. There'll be sun. Oh, just thinking about tomorrow clears away those cobwebs and that sorrow till there's none. When I'm stuck with a day that's grey and lonely, I just stick out my chin and I grin and I say, hey, the sun'll come out tomorrow, so you gotta hang on till tomorrow. Come what may, tomorrow, tomorrow. Oh, I love you tomorrow, you're always a day away. Yes, you are. Oh, the sun will come out tomorrow, so you gotta hang on till tomorrow. there'll be sun. Oh, just thinking about tomorrow clears away those cobwebs and that sorrow. Till there's none. When I'm stuck with a day that's grey and lonely, I just stick out my chin and I grin and I say, hey, the sun will come out tomorrow, so you gotta hang on till tomorrow. Come what may, tomorrow, tomorrow. Oh, I love you tomorrow, you're always a day away.
For us, it's a hard enough life for us. Instead of treated, we got tricked. Instead of kisses, we got kicked. It's a hard enough life for us.
It's harder, harder. It's harder, harder. Instead of kisses, we get kicked. Tomorrow, tomorrow. Oh, I love you tomorrow, you're always a day away. Tomorrow, tomorrow. Oh, I love you tomorrow, you're always a day away. You're always a day away. Thank you very much. Oh, I'm all echoey still. Must remember to cross my legs after certain medical procedures. So, I'm trying to think what else is going on. The only problem is, for those of you watching us on Facebook, there is a Zoom link on my profile if you want to join us on Zoom. I'm looking at my Zoom window and I'm seeing what they lovingly call the Fondettes, which are people that tune in to my Funday Sunday show every second Sunday of the month. Can I just do a shameless plug for that while we're raising money for charity? I don't know anyone more in need of charity than myself, to be quite honest. When you see what tunes in on a Sunday, I need some extra people to tune in, because it's got down to a very small family, and like most families, we're slightly inbred. So if you wouldn't mind joining us at some point, it would be lovely. The next show is on May the 9th. We've done lots of things on our Funday Sunday shows. I like to do parody songs and videos, and this is one of them. Oh dear, what a shitty gangbang, dogging in a mini, yes it's true. And this pretty shitty gangbang isn't something that makes me thank you. No chance sparking a romance when you brought the kids with you. Gangbang isn't gonna happen, there's no way we can screw. Gangbang isn't gonna happen in front of you know who. Your seats all have residue that smells like someone I knew. Each seat belt is soaked in DNA. There's poppers in your glove box and pictures of swollen cocks. I'm starting to think that you're gay. Oh shitty, no shitty, dogging with your kids here. Surely they'd rather see a zoo. And shitty, I shitty, have to tell you now that I won't let you stick it where I poo. I shitty, no shitty, you're a kinky hoe. God knows where this will end. Gangbang, pretty shitty gangbang. Lose the kids, my friend. Gangbang, pretty shitty gangbang. Their journey's at an end. Here, sniff this, kids. Daddy, we're flying! Loosen your seatbelts. Oh, Daddy, you've hit a low when you picked this evil hoe. She's not getting rid of us today. You're foolish to doubt me, kid. I'll find ways of getting rid. You brats will not stand in my way. Oh, shitty, no shitty, where is the child lock? Open the doors and bank hard right. Oh, shitty, dear shitty, looks like we've lost them. I don't know why they delight. Now, shitty, we're shitty, all alone up here. It's time to descend. Gangbang, pretty shitty gangbang. I cannot wait to bend. Gangbang, pretty shitty gangbang. As you take my rear end. Now let's start our weekend. Thank you very much. I'm making sure that I'm not muted. Yes, you can still hear me. Good. Right. Yes. So that was Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Now I'm trying to think of what's current, because I was only speaking to my Fondettes last week. So what's happened? Well, first thing that's happened is obviously Prince Philip died the Friday before our last Sunday show, which is a terrible, terrible thing. However, it does remind me of the time when my own grandparents died. And we've got a history of longevity in our family, much like the royals. In fact, there's a history of queens in our family too, so we're very much like the royals. However, I just remember, like, when people die, when you reach a certain age, you kind of get used to the idea that this is the inevitable thing. It's going to happen. So on people like Prince Charles, I mean, he's just rubbing his hands together thinking maybe Mumsy will die of a broken heart and I'll finally get the job I've been after. Maybe, I don't know. But, in the meantime, there's poor little, whatever the young princes are called. Are they George and Bertie? I don't know. What are they even called? I don't give a shit. I think it's George and Charlotte, isn't it? Who knows? Who cares? But, they're going to be at the funeral very sad that they've lost dear old Uncle Philip. And I remember when my grandmother died, my little kids were exactly the same. And they were sat there at the funeral and they didn't understand a thing. And they were saying, I just wish that I could play with Granny one more time. And it suddenly hit me while I was in the church. My heart was breaking for them, and I thought, how can I make this come true? So after we got her cremated, I took her ashes down to a factory, and I got them put into an Etch-a-Sketch, and now they can play with her every single day. So, I like to think that I do what I can to bring peace to my children when they're suffering. The other thing that was very disturbing about the whole funeral for my grandmother, she was very lucky. In fact, she had one of those most peaceful deaths. I know it's ridiculous to say, oh, she had a lovely death, but she sat down in a chair one afternoon, fell asleep, and didn't wake up again. I mean, that's a nice death, isn't it? Scared the shit out of her dentist, but for her, it was bloody lovely. So while she was dying, after she died, obviously she went off to the funeral home and they said, do you have a recent photo of her? Because we need that for the embalming if you want an open casket. So I thought, well, the only recent photo I've got of her is when she joined us on that day out at Fort Park. So I took that picture in, and they made her look exactly as she did on the photo. But unfortunately, that photo was taken on the log flume. And when you walk into a church and there's a coffin right in front of the altar with your grandmother hanging out at the top end of it like this, it's very disturbing. It doesn't really set the tone for a funeral. I'm laughing at my own fucking jokes. This is ridiculous. It's because I'm looking at all the Fondettes and they're smiling back at me. So thank you for joining us tonight, darlings. Thank you for being here. Now, obviously, I am talking a lot of crap. I've only got 5 minutes left to fill. That went fast, didn't it? Well, for me it did. Maybe not for you. But while we're on the subject of cancer, I'd like to do a hint of what our first act did and do some lovely 80s music. But I'd also love to pay homage to one of the most famous cancer survivors we know and we love. She's royalty in herself, and that is the lovely Miss Minogue. In my imagination there is no hesitation. I dream about you all the time. In my mind a celebration, the sweetest of sensation, thinking you could be mine. In my imagination there is no complication. We walk together hand in hand. I'm dreaming that you're in love with me, like I'm in love with you, but dreaming's all I do. If only they come true. I should be so lucky, 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 lucky. I should be so lucky in love. I should be so lucky, 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 lucky. I should be so lucky in love. It's a crazy situation, you always keep me waiting, because it's only make-believe. And I would come a-running to give you all my loving, if one day you would notice me. My heart is close to breaking, and I can't go on faking the fantasy that you'll be mine. I'm dreaming that you're in love with me, like I'm in love with you, but dreaming's all I do. If only they come true. I should be so lucky, 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 lucky. I should be so lucky in love. I should be so lucky, 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 lucky. I should be so lucky in love. I should be so lucky. 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 Sound like a fucking epileptic squirrel doing that, don't I? It's terrible. In my imagination there is no complication. We walk together hand in hand. I'm dreaming that you're in love with me, like I'm in love with you, but dreaming's all I do. If only they come true. I should be so lucky, 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 lucky. I should be so lucky in love. I should be so lucky, 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 lucky. I should be so lucky in love. I should be so lucky, 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 lucky. I should be so lucky in love. I should be so lucky, 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 lucky. I should be so lucky in love. Thank you very much. No, stop. Gotta save something for later, haven't we? Now, I'm looking at my clock and it is 29 minutes past 7. I'm also looking, I've got my phone underneath my laptop, which is 20 seconds behind, so I'm watching all the fuck-ups I did a moment ago, which is lovely. But within that, there's a little eyeball that tells me how many people are watching, and so far it's 3. So I'm very happy with that. 3 people on a Friday night joining you for a party, that's quite lovely, really, isn't it? Especially in the current situation where it's really not allowed unless they want to climb into my bubble. And sadly, it's not been a bubble for years. Now it scrapes across the floor and I get gravel burns if I walk naked across the street. Anyway, what was I talking? I'm so depraved. It is now 7:30. There you go. All you need to do is stumble a little bit and it becomes time for the next act.